phones. You're not selling anything.
The Fed's not done, and I'm going to tell you why.
Welcome back to Sean's Show, episode 63. Can you believe it, Mitch?
It's been a long road.
It's been a long road. You and I have been together since day one.
Ride or die.
Episode 1, which I recorded at a WeWork while I was on heroin.
Really?
No.
Okay.
That is the origin story of the show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm actually going to start saying to people when they're like, you know, when I do like an interview eventually about the show after I murder my family,
Mm-hmm.
they're gonna be like, so you had a podcast at one point. And then I'll be like, you know, yeah, I actually, the first episode I was on heroin. I'm gonna like start crying a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be like, it was at WeWork. Do you know WeWork?
Yeah.
Adam Newman. And they'll be like, wow, that's amazing.
It's really inspiring.
It's an inspiring, you know who else was on heroin? Adam Newman. That's our first story, ladies and no, I'm kidding. Welcome back. Thank you. If you are a first time listener, I would just click that X. That's what I always say at the front of the show. Hit that little red X. We do not want you. I like my fan base small and retarded and demonetized on YouTube. That's the way we run our show. I'm on the road, seanreillycomedy.com. I'm going to be in Columbus, Dallas, Nashville, Salt Lake City,
Austin,
Texas, my favorite city.
Tampa, San Diego. So come check out a live comedy show. We have 2 tickets sold in Dallas, and the club emailed me and they were like, the sooner that you cancel, the better. And I was like, let's leave it on the books. So come to the show. It's going to be fun. No, a lot of people buy tickets last minute. Other news, just review the show on Spotify. We're up to 11 reviews, which is incredible. We're at a 4.3 rating. I check the rating for the show every day. Every hour. Every hour?
My girlfriend was yelling at me like, you're always working. I'm like checking the ratings for the show on Spotify. She's like, what are you even doing? I'm like, our show's at 4.3, baby. I can't fuck you until it's at 4.9. So please review the show or I can't bust a nut.
We should try to get the lowest rated podcast.
Don't say that.
Most reviews.
Honestly, yes. Let's try that.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wonder if Spotify suppresses shows. You know what would be hilarious is if the show had like 10,000 reviews, but it was at like 1.2. Like it's widely popular and widely hated.
The most widely hated.
Let's be
podcast.
honest. That's better than being widely unknown and deeply hated, which is what the current show is. So let's get into it. Get ready for Elon Musk. He is always my favorite guy. You guys know, if you listen to the show, you know that I love a man named Elon Musk. He is in politics now. He is a dark MAGA, which I don't even know what dark MAGA is, but I guess that's when you change your your Twitter bio to dark MAGA.
Is he call himself? Does he
calls himself dark MAGA.
Interesting.
And it's odd because and I actually covered this like 20 episodes ago when I was still in Austin or whatever. The whole dark Brandon. Have you heard of Dark Brandon?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Dark Brandon started out as a 4chan, meme. And what's interesting, so then what happened is the Democratic Party, the DNC, they co-opted. Okay, I'm all over the place. Let me back up. This is how sick politics is right now. You have so many like noisy, different cultural moments happening, and they're all like clashing together into this crazy psychotic bullshit. You have Let's Go Brandon, which is Republican code for fuck Joe Biden, which started at some Indy 500 NASCAR race.
Right.
Then you have so initially it was a we've actually come full circle. So initially it was Let's Go Brandon, which was a code for fuck Joe Biden. That's a Republican code switching thingy. Then 4chan co-opted that and turned the Brandon into Dark Brandon, which I think is like some sort of like weird lore. It's like a weird lore about. Is that right?
I think it's like the laser eyes.
The laser eyes.
Yeah.
The red laser eyes.
Right.
So what? So Dark Brandon. What is Dark Brandon? Do you know? It's like a.
Yeah, I guess it's basically trying to show Joe Biden as being
evil.
Dark. Yeah, basically evil.
Not badass, but like evil,
yeah,
like a bad
evil,
guy.
Yeah. Like laser eyes, deep fried meme stuff.
Right. Okay. So Dark Brandon started on 4chan. Then the DNC, the Democratic Party, co-opted Dark Brandon.
Yeah.
And they made a post after the Super Bowl, when the Chiefs won the last Super Bowl, and they made a post on Joe Biden's Instagram.
Yeah, just like we drew it up.
Mm-hmm. And it was Joe Biden with the laser eyes, which was a subtle reference to Dark Brandon.
Mm-hmm.
And now Elon Musk is Dark MAGA. I feel like I'm in a Yu-Gi-Oh universe. Like I feel like I'm watching a Marvel movie. So Elon's Dark MAGA. Do you know what? Can you look that up, Mitch?
Yeah. Dark MAGA, let's see here. Is an aesthetic.
Oh God, it's an aesthetic.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Harder and more focused approach to the role only he can fill, meaning Donald Trump.
Uh-huh.
He was too kind-hearted, too forgiving. Dark MAGA demands he learned from his mistakes.
It sounds like a Marvel synopsis.
I guess, yeah. It's like
Dark MAGA.
They want him to take vengeance, I guess.
See, this is the kind of like, this is what politics said. We used to talk about healthcare. We used to talk about taxes. We used to talk about foreign policy. When is the last time any politician has said the words foreign policy? It's been a long time. And now you have tech billionaires talking about being Dark MAGA. I mean, we're lost. We're really deeply lost as a culture. And I mean, you know, you guys better be ready. Get ready for Elon to enter the political sphere. It's been long awaited. I think a lot of people are. I've been expecting Elon Musk to be a politician ever since I learned about him in 2014, when I was a little boy. I was in 2014. I was 2 years old, and now I'm 26. No, 16.
But yeah, I guess he's the Dark MAGA. It's kind of weird. They're done playing the nice guy.
They're expecting him to. They're expecting Trump to be not a nice guy.
I guess.
So basically,
I think they're just trying to be badass while being MAGA, whatever that means. It's like motorcycle.
I like trucks and I like guns.
Yeah, I don't know.
But Elon Musk has donated, and this is our first story. Elon Musk has donated, I believe it's 43 million. Is that the number, Mitch?
I can look it up.
Something like it's in the tens of millions of dollars, which is pennies to that guy. Elon has donated tens of millions of dollars to a Trump super PAC.
75 million to a PAC.
75 million to a Trump super PAC. And he's balls deep. So you have Elon Musk going balls deep on the Trump campaign. And he's a smart guy. I'm not going to say Elon Musk isn't. He's a very smart guy. Elon Musk is basically buying it's insurance. That's the way like all these psychos look at stuff. Elon Musk is basically like, I'll spend $75 million, and if Trump get on Trump's campaign, and if he gets elected, I'll be able to get appointed as Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State or whatever cabinet, maybe not the actual cabinet, but like an advisory role. And that's actually something Elon Musk is thinking of, has pitched in the public. He's pitched himself as an advisory role where he like reduces government inefficiency. I don't know what the role is called, but it's basically Elon Musk going into the federal government and looking to find inefficiencies, bureaucracy, and destroy it. So he would go in and he would look at like something like Social Security and say, that's wrong. And he would destroy it. Or he'd go in and say like, the roads, the roads.
Mm-hmm.
He would go in and say, I don't want the roads. That's a waste of our tax dollars. And he would basically destroy the public roads, the highway system. Like, and that's good. Like, I want Elon Musk to go in there and get rid of the interstate highway system, Amtrak. I want him to go in, get rid of FEMA. Nothing has been a bigger waste of tax dollars than FEMA.
The woke mind virus, aka the woke mind. FEMA.
Did you know FEMA? You know what FEMA funds? They're funding child trans surgeries.
That's what I hear.
I've heard on Fox News that FEMA is going into Florida. You know what they're doing, Mitch? They're finding kids and they're saying, if you want to evacuate because of the hurricane, are you trans? And they're cutting their dicks off. So if you want to get out of Florida, you got to cut your dick off. Little dick. You got to get it cut off. And that's the kind of thing that Elon Musk is going to alleviate, which is important. So we'll see. I don't know. I mean, me personally, I'm not ready. I am just not ready for Elon Musk to become a politician.
Sure.
I really might kill myself.
Why?
Because seeing him, he's going to be the president. Are you ready? Are you ready, Mitch, for Elon Musk to be the president?
It's way less crazy than Trump being president.
You think so?
Yeah, I was kind of that mindset when I heard Trump was running. I'm like, dude, if Trump ever becomes president,
I was like that too. And then when he got elected, I was like, fuck.
Yeah.
Elon overreacted.
Yeah, after you can't have a crazier president after Trump.
That's true. That's
it's
true.
Like Grimace from McDonald's or something. Like
even Grimace,
a mascot or something.
Even Grimace will be more even-headed, I think, honestly. So, I have a unique hatred for the guy, and that's kind of like, I've just been praying. I have an impossible task. You ever pray on someone's downfall?
I'd try not to.
I'll keep it real. I've prayed on people's downfall before.
Yeah. Like, please, God.
I pray to God.
You pray to God for Elon to trip and bump his knee?
Not even that. Like, okay. Exposed as a pedophile or a bad guy, or an emerald tyrant.
Okay. My emerald.
I go, Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. By Elon's death, I wish it would come. Amen. It's just something that, like, I'm so tired of the same. I think we just, you know what it is, dude? I just think we need a new cast of guys. I'm like so tired of the current guys.
There hasn't been a new guy in a long time. That's a good point.
There really hasn't. You got Trump, Elon. Who else? That's like the only two people that exist right now.
Yeah,
Elon Musk and Trump.
If you're on Twitter, you see a ton of Elon shit. You can't avoid Elon.
It's Trump and it's Elon. It's Mohammed bin Salman. I
have no idea who that is.
Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia. Okay, praise his name. Praise him. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, journalist assassin. Praise him. He was the guy who killed Jamal Khashoggi, allegedly. Okay. According to the UN Human Rights Watch. I personally think he's innocent.
All right.
Free Mohammed bin Salman from these allegations. But we need new guys. We need new guys. I'm just tired of, can I be one of the guys? I want to be one of the guys. I want $1 billion. I want to start a car company. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you should back Trump. So when he's president, he'll make you a new guy. That's at least what Elon.
That's kind of the conversation. That's literally not even an exaggeration of what they're doing. But so get ready for that. I just could you go on that article on the last article, Mitch, and see if there's anything juicy in there about this? We won't spend all day on it, but it's Elon Musk is entering. The news is that Elon Musk is entering politics, and you got to just get your asshole ready for that. I mean, it's not just Elon. It could be an Elon Musk combo, or excuse me, an Elon Trump combo. Does that article say anything interesting?
I mean,
is it just
something? I don't know if you have any thoughts on this. This is something that was kind of interesting to me, at least, is that Musk immediately endorsed Trump after that first assassination attempt. I don't know how you feel. Like, I guess he was inspired by the imagery of the fight thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was kind of just interesting. He was supporting him after he realized, like, a guy that in that moment would be so, I guess it fired him up or something.
Well, what's interesting is that Trump and Elon had a lot of feuds. Trump called the Teslas cheap.
Yeah.
Elon, I believe, was either neutral or didn't support Trump. And now it's almost like they're the Elon and Trump partnering up is like, it's almost like a sitcom. You know when those when you have to do a group project with a guy that you hate? It's like that. I feel like Elon and Trump are they're almost like being forced to do a group project. Except it's both of those guys are guys that don't do any of the work. That dude, nothing pisses me off more than when you're in a group project of 4 people. And then there's always that one guy. I don't know what it is, but I feel like teachers, they make a list of all the fucking lazy pieces of shit.
Mm-hmm.
Then they make a list of everyone else. Then they attach one lazy guy to 3 people who actually get shit done.
Yeah, they're trying to inspire them.
I feel like they have to, because you know what? I just wish, and I know why they do that, to make sure chaos doesn't ensue.
Mm-hmm.
But if I had it my way, dude, I'd put all the lazy fucks in one group. I remember, dude, I was in high school,
mm-hmm.
and I was in a class called pre-engineering. And it was 20 people, 15 of them were Asian future CEO autists. Me. And then it was 5 cholos.
Okay.
Which was kind of cool because I'll stay with me on this. The 15 of us chose, the Asian kids and me. I'm an honorary Asian. All us Asians, we chose pre-engineering.
Right.
And then the 5 cholos, they just didn't fill out the you fill out to choose an elective in high school.
Assigned it or something. Yeah.
So they didn't fill it out because they were, probably getting abused by their fathers. Let's be honest. They were being molested. They came from this poor backgrounds. It's honestly very tragic. So they didn't fill out the elective thing and they were put in pre-engineering. So we had these group projects where we had build a bridge, and it would be me, a guy named Lee, some Asian dude named Lee that doesn't talk and is already a Nobel laureate.
Right. Yeah.
And, another Asian dude, and then Juan.
Yeah.
And I remember we were building the bridge.
The balsa wood?
Yeah.
Bridge?
Or no, I think we used glue and paper.
Oh,
paper,
okay.
Whatever. Straws or some shit.
Yeah.
And we were I remember Juan would never come to class. And the one time he did come to class, so it was basically the 3 of us. And the one time he did come to class, he showed up late and the teacher didn't let him in. He was basically hey, you got to show up on time or I can't, you're not going to get credit for today. Teach him a lesson about punctuality, which I clearly need to learn. And he tried to get into the class, and the teacher was this old frail dude, put his arms on the door frame and wouldn't let him in. And then this guy, Juan, backs up and tackles the teacher. Yeah. This old guy tackles him. And then the bell rang to end the class because he was that late. And we all stepped over this guy.
The teacher?
Yeah. And no one helped him up.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about Elon Musk and Trump's plan. is that America has been tackled.
Okay.
And Elon Musk and Trump are trying to they tackled America.
Right.
And America were crippled on the ground having a seizure.
Yeah.
And Elon and Trump just, they honestly, it's not a great analogy. I really didn't
That's okay.
draw that well. I
feel like you were also maybe implying that the Hispanic kids were the ones that didn't do the work in the class.
No, I said
I feel like you're
I did say that.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean it.
Yeah, right.
Cholo is that like the N-word for Mexicans?
No, that's
Okay.
like but the Cholo I think is a gang thing. So they're a gang affiliated Mexicans?
Fuck, dude.
No,
I'm
they were
really
they were just like
No, they were just
regular Mexicans.
I think God.
In my pre-engineering class, I just soaked the whole shit in glue. I just soaked the bridge in glue.
You soaked Walton's gun in glue.
That
and
was
said,
my strategy.
Put your guns down.
And the teacher's like, you can't just soak the bridge in glue.
Honestly, but that is what real engineering is it's coating. You're coating it you're hardening it.
Right.
For the record, I don't think all Mexicans are gang members.
No.
And I don't think all Mexicans are cholos. And I'm not trying to imply that the Asians and the whites were doing all the work and the Mexicans were lazy. Is that how it came off?
No, I was just
No, that is how it came off, be honest.
Right? Yeah.
And I'm really sorry about that. I also think there was no. There was also a lazy white guy.
Okay.
There was a sixth.
And that's Elon.
Yes.
And the Asian guys are Trump.
The Asian guy, basically the analogy is this.
Yeah.
You have a classroom called pre-engineering with a bunch of the Asian guys, there's really no metaphor. It's quite literally the Asian guys are China. They're Chinese.
Right,
they're Chinese nationals.
Yeah.
Then you have 5 I don't know, dude. It's
like 5 white guys, and that's like the guys we're getting tired of.
Right. Those are the guys we're getting tired of.
Those are the guys, same old guys.
Who's the teacher then? Who does he represent in America?
God.
He's an old man who's on Social Security.
Right. He's the boomer generation.
He's the boomer.
Yeah.
But he's a poor boomer. I gotta say, it's funny that any boomer could be poor. They had it so easy.
Right, yeah.
Imagine being a poor boomer. Like, you could have bought a house for nothing. I think people were putting down 30 grand, which was a lot more back then. But you could put down 30 grand and get a home, get a mortgage.
Do you think you'll own a house ever?
My dad owns 2.
But do you think you'll own a house?
No. He's gonna sell them and send them to charity.
Yeah.
I have a feeling. Literally, I have a feeling I'm gonna be cut from the will.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
Why?
Just because I haven't been a good son.
What did you do? What did you do?
I just, I got high in high school.
But boomers got high in high school.
That's true.
Did your dad? Was he a straight lace?
He did coke when he was young, I think.
That's the one drug that doesn't really count.
Which is so crazy because cocaine is so easily caught with other drugs.
Not back in those days.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's when the Columbia was flowing. The gas was flowing. How cool would it have been to fly a private plane to Columbia and pick up kilos of coke and fly it into Miami? How cool would that have been?
Would have been pretty cool.
Fuck.
Yeah.
And the fucking DEA ruins everything.
I know.
If I had it my way, coke would be legal, fentanyl would be legal, all these drugs would be legal, and you'd be allowed to do them wherever you want. And have I told you?
Just a hard sell.
I've told you about my legalized drugs platform, right?
No, go shoot,
really?
Shoot, yeah. I want to be convinced about legalized drugs.
What's your take right now? I will try to sell you.
I like the idea that it could work. The idea of legalizing drugs and then it works in some other cultures or whatever. You work on rehabilitating people that are addicted to drugs. That seems to work in some cultures. I don't know if it would work as well in America. I don't know. I'd like to be convinced that that's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about legalizing drugs?
Well, I mean, I think they should all be legalized and lightly regulated.
Yeah.
Lightly. Like you. So you're saying like the European model where it's like you're addicted to heroin, go into this facility and inject heroin safely, and also we're going to try to wean you off it. Is that kind of?
Yeah, yep. Or like, yeah, it's decriminalized. So like if you get caught with drugs, there's a system for rehabilitation as opposed to just like putting drug addicts in jail.
Yeah, I mean, well, there's
a whole spectrum to like how you feel about drug legalization. I don't know.
No, there really.
I saw a really funny take. One dude was saying like, what we should do is you legalize all drugs, but it's in a building, and you have to, when you go there, it's like prison. So you can do all the drugs you want, but you're not allowed to leave.
That's funny.
Yeah.
That's no one would want to do that.
No.
To hang out with a bunch of losers.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it? What's your plan?
This is and this is like a radical view that I have.
Yeah.
And I really don't want to get like wrapped up in just saying crazy controversial shit that I don't even believe.
Sure.
Because that's what most podcasts are. Is people go on podcasts and they go, to be a high value man is to be a rapist.
Do you feel like Andrew Tate doesn't believe what he says? I think he does believe what he says.
You think he's a real one?
Well, I think for the most part, yeah, people like pretty much believe what they're saying. Like there are real radicals, real crazy people.
Yeah.
Because I've met some in real life. Like there are really rappers. People who are crazy. Some rappers, yeah, are definitely crazy. But
who's the craziest rapper you ever recorded?
There's one dude who like straight up.
I don't want him to hear this. Like, is he going to hear this and kill me?
No, I'm just going to give you general information. Like one dude.
His name was Lil DJ Plant.
Yeah.
Let's call him DJ Plant. Unless that was his real name.
DJ Gun Loaded.
DJ Loaded Gun?
Yeah.
His name was MC Glock Shooter.
Yeah.
His name was Lil Kill My Cousin in Queens on the night of the 3rd of November 2022.
Yeah.
But who was the craziest rapper? Was his name Elon Musk?
No. I feel like Elon is not that crazy.
Yeah.
But there was a guy that like pretty clearly.
Don't say his name. Yeah.
No, but I don't even know his name. But there was a guy who was like pretty clearly probably like on crack in the studio, like really fucking charged up.
Yeah.
And he was like yelling at me. He's like, black people, they know their bodies, and white people, they're in their heads. he's just like screaming at me. I'm just like,
that's a really sensible take.
Yeah, I don't know. It was like he like, why are you making this? Like, yeah, man, I'm running the computer and you're rapping, but it's like,
was he like yelling at you?
Yeah.
So he yelled at you, black people know their bodies and white people are in their heads?
Something along those lines. Like, the black man's intelligence is in his body and the white man's intelligence is in their head.
That sounds like
that's
so
kind of,
racist.
I'm like, that's racist. No.
But you can't tell a black guy that that's racist.
No, I mean, it was very uncomfortable.
Right.
That's one example of there's sort of black Israelite-ish stuff you run into. And then there's just straight up people that like, they talk about how they kill people and stuff.
That's so crazy, dude.
Yeah.
Being around like,
but that's like a low resolution version of a crazy person. Like somebody that's just violent. Like that kind of makes sense. What you're talking about is like you watch Andrew Tate and you're like, this guy doesn't make sense. I don't think he believes what he believes because it's sort of this system of ideas.
Yeah.
Is that how you feel about Andrew Tate?
It's not just Andrew Tate. It's like a lot of media is like.
You think it's just rage bait? Like for the most part?
I mean,
intentional on the. I mean, I could believe that.
Here's the thing. It's kind of a gray area. I think you have people that think they believe the things that they say.
Okay.
It's hard. I mean, we're getting a little philosophical here, but it's kind of hard to even say what you really believe.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's
like
fair.
I can say that like, for example, I can say I want all drugs to be legalized, but if I could flip a switch and do it right now, would I actually flip the switch? Fuck yeah, I would. And I'll tell you why. Oh, by the way, I want to legalize all drugs. Legalize drugs.
Legalize drugs.
That's a merch. That's a t-shirt. I want to legalize all drugs except for marijuana. I want to recriminalize.
Okay.
Which is another t-shirt. I want to recriminalize marijuana.
Recriminalize it.
Ganja. I am smoking the ganja. Recriminalize the ganja.
Recriminalize.
So here's the layout for why I think all drugs should be legalized and lightly regulated.
Okay.
Right now, let's take something legal like water. Water. You can, that's not even, you can't really manufacture water. You kind of just have to collect it. So that's not actually a good, let's say beef.
Sure.
Beef is legal. I can start a farm and buy a cow, kill the cow, and get beef.
Okay.
And then I can package the beef, and then I can sell my beef, and then the customers who I sell my beef to can make products with that beef.
Right. Okay.
Hamburgers, pasta. I'm a big food. What's so funny?
Beef pasta,
bolognese. I just started listing. Alfredo's chicken. Beef Alfredo.
Love beef Alfredo.
I don't know. Beef stews.
Beef stroganoff.
Soups, beef stroganoff. Sandwiches with beef.
Right.
And obviously there's regulation around that industry. I can't sell beef that's has too many pesticides or steroids.
Mm-hmm.
There's regulations around how I manufacture the beef. But in general, you can just do it. It's not that hard. Now, imagine that I replace the beef with fentanyl. And I'm not even being ironic. I swear to Christ.
Like
imagine
fentanyl edibles and shit.
Fentanyl soda, fentanyl edible, fentanyl. Okay. I don't even know. There's a whole world of possibilities where fentanyl is included as an ingredient in products that we use. That's the magic of the free market. If you enable and allow the free market to does what it does, which is to create amazing products that we use every day, like water bottles. That's not a good example. Like podcast microphones.
Right.
You let the consumer decide how they want to consume fentanyl. Maybe it's a candy. Maybe it's lightly used in a candy. You know, and fentanyl is an extreme example. You think about cocaine. Put cocaine back in Coca-Cola. Put Vicodin in Play-Doh. Put antibiotics in water. What if, you know how you have to take an antibiotic pill?
Mm-hmm.
What if I want to make an antibiotic, which is very regulated? What if I want to put that antibiotic in a soda to make it easier to consume? Would you buy that product?
I guess if I needed antibiotics.
So let's say you need a two-week prescription of antibiotics.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of taking a pill every day, what if you could drink a soda that infuses the antibiotic in it? I can't make that product because of the government and the DEA. I can't make fentanyl Dr. Pepper, which I want to so desperately. What if I could make fentanyl Dr. Pepper? Would you drink that?
No.
What if it had, fentanyl is very powerful.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about an amount of fentanyl that would get you to look like.
Right.
I'm talking about a fentanyl that would give you a little buzz.
Okay.
I'm talking about a little bit of fentanyl that gives you a little buzz, a little zest. Right, Mitch? Like,
that's a nice name. That's a nice name for the fentanyl.
Dr. Zest.
Dr. Zest.
Dr. Zest. I'm talking about an amount of fentanyl that is so precisely manufactured that you are almost guaranteed to never overdose unless you have 12 of them.
I don't know. I might really like Dr. Zest, and I have, I accidentally do it on the Dr. Zests, and I'm
so glad you said that, Mitch, because guess what? Right now, you can go to the liquor store and buy a fatal amount of alcohol.
This is true.
You can go to the liquor store and buy 2 bottles of Everclear, and you could kill yourself with that right now. Yeah. Anyone could. People listening now, go to the liquor store and get 2 bottles of Everclear and drink both of them. As my listener, I want you to do that. No, that was a joke. Do you see what I mean, though?
Yeah, it's tricky. The alcohol is a difficult thing because it probably would be illegal if it wasn't for like people all the alcoholics that absolutely lost their mind when it became illegal.
Well, you want to know this is actually a genuinely crazy, this is a conspiracy theory that I actually believe. Alcohol is probably as dangerous, I believe, or more dangerous than, well, I don't even think it's dangerous. I mean, the reason that I think fentanyl, Vicodin, cocaine, marijuana, LSD, mushrooms, those things are all illegal because the alcohol lobby, why did the alcohol lobby and the tobacco industry, they fought so hard to keep marijuana illegal because they knew that it was going to be a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
And those two industries lobby the government in the same way, and they desperately love alcohol and tobacco lobbies love that we think fentanyl is this evil drug. They love this culture in America. This is crazy, but I really believe this, that fentanyl is flooding into the United States through our southern border. Fentanyl's evil. You don't want to watch out. Fentanyl's in your drugs. And yeah, but we need to ask ourselves, why is fentanyl so scary? It's because cholos are manufacturing. No, I'm joking. No, but it's because people who don't have PhDs in chemistry are cutting this highly powerful substance into all the drugs. So what if I could make a Dr. Zest factory where I hire PhDs and I pay them millions of dollars a year to make sure the right amounts of fentanyl go in each can of Dr. Zest?
Yeah, I just don't want some person drinking a Dr. Zest and not not knowing what they're getting themselves into. You know what I mean? They're like, I love those Dr. Zest ads where he's just chilling on the couch having a good time on the Sunday afternoon. And then all of a sudden they're addicted to fentanyl. And they're like, man, I like that part of what's in the Dr. Zest that's so good? I need to get myself more of that.
Right.
And then they do a key bump of fentanyl and then they fucking die. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, and I get that it's really sensitive because I know people who know people who I think overdosed.
Yeah.
And it's really, sorry, that was tasteless.
But fentanyl in particular it's good that you're taking the most difficult drug to argue for.
Right. I do want
to make the case for that.
I do, because it is.
That one in particular is tricky because that's.
Now the question is, let's say you drink Dr. Zest every day.
Mm-hmm.
You have one can of Dr. Zest at night to relax, to take the edge off.
Yeah, I knew a fentanyl addict that had a high-paying job.
Really?
Yeah, but it was like an email job, so
it was a fake.
Kind of a fake job, but yeah.
That goes to show how fake that job is that you can be a fentanyl addict and still be a Salesforce associate marketer.
No, I know, yeah.
What was this job? Do you know?
Her job, she worked for a public institution. I won't say which one. Yeah.
Was it the IRS?
No, education.
You don't dox her.
No.
Her name is Elizabeth Warren.
Close. It was close.
So she was an old anyway. But so she's addicted to fentanyl, and she had an email job.
Yeah. How
was that like? Like what? So I don't know. Are you open to talking about it?
Sure.
Is it so? What was the lifestyle like? What? How did she get involved in fentanyl?
Chronic pain, taking painkillers, getting addicted to painkillers, not being able to get prescribed painkillers anymore, going on the street,
getting heroin,
not being able to find heroin because heroin doesn't really exist anymore.
Really?
It's basically just fentanyl or like oxys and stuff.
Damn.
But you can't even really get oxys anymore. It's like pretty much if you're looking for street opiates, I don't know the correct terminology, but it's basically fentanyl. It's all fentanyl now. So if you have pain and you can't get it prescribed opiates, it's kind of just fentanyl.
Okay. Dude, so you just brought up a real world example where this matters. What if we lived in a world where you could go to 7-Eleven and just buy some fucking fentanyl for $5 a pop?
Yeah, it would be, it would reduce a lot of harm.
I really think, and you're talking about harm reduction, I really think that less people would overdose. Because I don't think most fentanyl addicts want to end their lives. I think
she did, but I don't.
Would you agree? I think it's generally agreeable that.
I mean, it's like it's a chicken or an egg situation. It's just like if you get if you're that powerfully addicted to something, at that point you might want to end your life. It's a dark.
It's a dark road. Yeah. Well, it's like I don't think that anyone who is taking a painkiller for chronic pain.
Right.
Was suicidal.
Yeah, I guess the chicken in that situation. Yeah, I don't think she started out suicidal. No.
But the way that the laws are structured now is that the laws are structured or not even structured for this purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it probably was not the intention because it sucks. But the way the laws are structured now, drug regulation, is you hear a million stories like your friend, Elizabeth Warren. She was on Vicodin or whatever. The healthcare system is totally fucked. So either she couldn't get get prescribed, couldn't afford it. And guess what? Chronic pain doesn't just go away. That's why it's called chronic pain. So now she has this problem and she needs a solution. So I would do the same thing. I would do the same thing. I'd be doing fentanyl. My whole body's in an unbelievable amount of pain and I can't afford a prescription painkiller. I'm doing fentanyl. Like I'm just going to do it. Like it's like to get through the day. And so I imagine. And so when I say legalize fentanyl, people call me retarded. And my dad goes, you don't understand how dangerous that drug is. And I'm like, okay, boomer,
Yeah.
And
it's a tough sell to people because it's kind of like, people feel like if you make things illegal, people are less likely to get involved in them. They don't really think about the people that are already doing them. And I think at a certain point, once enough people like us are like one step removed from knowing somebody that totally fucked up their life by fentanyl stuff, I think it makes it easier to make that point where you're talking about legalizing pretty much all drugs.
I wonder if you took an average fentanyl addict and what would they say? Do you think they would want it to be legalized?
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But not for the right reason. Not because they're libertarians.
Like
they don't want it to be legalized so they can do more fentanyl.
Yeah, bro, I'm totally a libertarian on that issue.
Hey, by the way,
I'm a one-issue voter, man.
You got any of that legal fentanyl?
Yeah.
Got any more of that legalized fentanyl?
Yeah. Yeah, but my friend, she's now on Suboxone.
Okay.
So
which is
I feel like that's
weaning off.
That's the one that you like wean off it on. Yeah.
So it still gets you high.
Kind
it's
of
less addictive.
I don't really know.
But
she offered me some one time, but I didn't take it.
That's not cool.
I know. I should have. Then I would have known that I could have been like, yes, it totally gets you really high and you have zero pain. But it's tricky. I don't know. If you legalize it, then I guess maybe people might do it. What are we finding out about marijuana? Do more people? I don't think more people end up smoking weed, right?
Is the laptop dead?
Yeah, the laptop's dead. Fuck. I'm pretty sure that's a thing. Like after they legalize marijuana, I don't know. Well, I mean, that's a good thing to look up on this issue.
I think I saw some reports about an uptick I don't know. I won't even say that because I don't know if it's true, but I wonder because there are cities like Oakland, California legalize mushrooms. Well, it's like they use the word decriminalize. And I'm like,
I think it's
either
that means like you can possess it, but you can't manufacture products.
To me, it's like get in or out. You're legalizing it. You want it to be in 7-Eleven. You want it to be in a Sean Show item that you can purchase on seanreillycomedy.com if you're 18 or over.
Yeah.
Or you want it to be a felony punishable by death.
I totally disagree.
There's really no in between. This whole
that is the in between is the decriminalization. You can possess it, but you can't.
It's the worst of both worlds.
You can't make Dr. Shrooms where it's a drink and like what's this?
What's wrong with Dr. Shrooms?
I'm seeing all these commercials for Dr. Shrooms, and that guy that's chilling out on the couch corner, kind of tripping out a little bit. He seemed really cool.
Call the doctor, man.
Yeah,
I'm gonna crash.
Yeah.
Look, it's no one really has the answers except for me. I think that's what we learned.
Right.
And
that's legalized everything.
Did I sell you on it?
I just don't want to see Dr. Snooze's fentanyl cola ads on TV.
Let me ask you this
during the Super Bowl. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Let me ask you this point blank.
There needs to be some
respectfully, Mitch. Let me ask you this point
blank. There shouldn't be. Do you think there should be drug ads, pharmaceutical ads?
Yeah, I don't see a problem with that.
It seems it's kind of predatory, right?
What's it like? Do you mean for like for painkillers and shit?
For like antidepressants and stuff like that.
I mean, obviously it's dystopian, but like, look, man, I'm a pharma shareholder. Let's just move on.
Okay,
all right. No, I'm kidding. That is fucked up.
It would be the same thing with then so-called illicit drugs if you're advertising them on television. It sucks just as much to advertise fentanyl soda as it does to advertise Lexapro during the Super Bowl,
Yeah, it's what if it's a really good commercial though? What if you get Alicia Keys in the Dr. Zest commercial?
I forgot the name of it, Dr. Zest. If you get Alicia Keys, she's like...
I mean, she's not really that relevant. What if you got Charlie XCX shaking her ass?
Some people want it all, but I just want a can of Dr. Zest to get me through the day. All of my chronic pain. Yeah.
I don't have health care anymore. Now I need a Dr. Zest. Look, it's just, let me ask you this point blank, Mitch, and this is with everyone listening. This is with respect to everyone who knows a loved one that has a drug problem. I'm not trying to make light of that. Do you think if fentanyl soda existed and it was sold in 7-Eleven at a low price, at a 2-for-1,
mm-hmm.
do you think that the existence of that, if we lived in that world, do you think more people would be addicted to fentanyl, less people would be addicted to fentanyl, or the same, roughly the same?
More, because it becomes this novelty item. It would be a totally new thing. Like we've had sort of a peripheral association with weed even before it was legalized or decriminalized or whatever. Like everybody sort of knew about weed. And then alcohol has been, as old as time.
Right. If
we were like, now we sort of have this new little thing we're cooking up called Dr. Zest fentanyl soda. You know what I mean? People would be like, oh, I want to try that,
I would try it.
Yeah. And then you would be addicted to opiates.
Well, here's the question.
You would have a totally new drug that you have this relationship with throughout your life.
I'm glad we're drilling deep on this.
Yeah.
I think I could have a can of Dr. Zest fentanyl soda.
Yeah.
And look, again, I want to clarify. We're not talking about 100 milligrams of fentanyl, which is, I guess, a lot. I don't know. I don't know the amounts. Micrograms, I think.
Sure.
It's fun. We're talking about like a little. That's it. Like you barely feel it. Like imagine a can of Dr. Zest fentanyl.
Okay, so you're saying Dr. Zest fentanyl soda can exist, but they have to have regulations on how much fentanyl's in a can.
Sure. I'm okay.
I thought you're Mr. Libertarian. Why can't you have like a kilogram of fentanyl in your doctor? It's just dust when you pour out the can of soda.
I'll tell you this. You want to know why you don't need regulation on the amount of fentanyl in each soda? Is that I don't want to kill if I'm Dr. Zest, CEO of Dr. Zest fentanyl soda, I don't want to kill my customers. I want to get them addicted, which I guess
and
is
keep
bad.
them alive.
Which is what the alcohol industry does.
Well, I'm just saying, do you really want to do this whole thing again with another version of alcohol where we introduce this thing into society and then it's so good and then it hurts people, but some people works for them, and it's this other thing, and then you once you go down that rabbit hole of opening the door to another addictive substance that's involved in society, you're never closing that. You know what I mean? Because then we'll have another time we're going through the fentanyl soda prohibition era, and then people are gonna have underground speakeasies with flappers and stuff, and jazz bars, drinking.
There will
sodas.
be no jazz in the fentanyl speakeasy. It'll be a lot of prostitution and needles.
Yeah.
Okay, so if that's the case, sorry, I'm doing this with my hands. I hate it when people do that with their hands. So if that's the case, then should alcohol then be criminalized?
I don't think so, because I
don't know. I'm sorry, we didn't get the news. I'm on a philosophical mood.
The laptop's dead.
Okay,
but
we'll do one more news story though. Yeah, sorry.
Wait, so what was your question?
So if you would, and again, I'm not even trying to like, I don't even know what to believe now. But if you're saying that you're on the fence about, or if you're saying that it would be bad if there was a fentanyl soda.
Yeah.
Because it would open the door to all these new addictions. It would increase harm.
I'm saying if we were at the point where we are trying to make the decision about, are we going to introduce alcohol to society or not?
Yeah.
I think you choose no.
Just in general. So, okay.
I think you choose no, but it's sort of inevitable now that it's part of society.
You can't close the door.
If you close the door, it causes more harm than it solves.
I see. Right. So if alcohol were criminalized, more people would die.
If you were to recriminalize alcohol, it would cause more problems than it would solve.
Okay.
But if
it never existed, like with this is the case,
I think we would be better off if it never existed. Yeah.
But I wonder, but yeah.
Maybe I'm in denial then about fentanyl, because I'm being like, I'm making the assumption that since it's illegal, it doesn't exist.
I was about to say, Mitch.
Yeah.
Aren't we in the fentanyl prohibition era?
Well, I don't know. It's tricky, man. I'm assuming that if you decide to legalize it, it'll become a permanent fixture of society that you'll never be able to really reel it back in.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you will undoubtedly have at least one person that drinks Dr. Zests.
Just like, that Dr. Zest guy seems really cool.
Yeah. And then they will die of overdose. They'll end up injecting fentanyl and dying. So
it would be good for addicts. It would be good for addicts for Dr. Zest to exist.
So the question is it a net positive or a net negative? Because all the effects that we just said will happen.
I think it's a net negative. I think you got to probably make, what's good about Suboxone is that you can't really abuse it. There's some compound in it, like whatever's in Narcan, I think that's in it a bit, so it's much harder to overdose on it.
There's like a bitterant.
Yeah, there's like a bitterant in it.
There really is.
There really is. Yeah, like
so you can't rail it.
You can't snort it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, there is. That's really funny. There is a bitterant in it where it's like,
that sounds like a slur, doesn't it?
Bitterant for what? What people? The indigenous population?
No, the Germans.
Okay.
Bitterants.
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. But yeah.
So, well, that was a long detour. Let's do one more news story.
Drug legalization. Yeah.
Interesting conversation, Mitch.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I wasn't expecting to talk about.
Sometimes I'm just like, you gotta have fun and you gotta like just go where I'm just looking up the news stories I had. You gotta go where your mind takes you, you know, because that's what this is an art form, what we're doing right now. This is an art form.
Dude, I gotta stop drinking so much fucking water before these things. I gotta piss.
You gonna piss? We'll do one more story and then we'll close it out. Guys, this is almost like an episode of Joe Rogan. You know, we're like really drilling deep on a subject.
Yeah. Do you think the moon landing was faked?
What moon?
No. There's a lot of people that think the moon is fake. I'm serious. Like it's like
radical flat Earth.
It's a more rigorous community than the flat Earth community. They have better arguments for why the moon's fake. It's harder to prove in reality that the moon is real. Like you can prove in your day-to-day reality, like you see the horizon and stuff like that. It's like, okay, the Earth is like kind of round. Like also in our pre-engineering class, we sent a weather balloon up and you can see the curvature of the Earth, like stuff like that.
Okay, private school.
It's hard. No, I went to a shitty public school, but it's really hard to prove the moon is real just with like civilian efforts.
Right. Yeah, you need like a drone or a rocket, or
you need to kind of go to the moon to prove that it's real.
And we haven't even done that.
No.
So okay, I got to get to this story because our number one fan Gary tagged me in this story.
Yeah, what's Gary up to?
Gary's doing well. Oh, we guess we'll have to answer his questions. He asked me a bunch of questions, but let's start with the story. Boeing laid off 10% of its workforce. Massive thousands of employees are getting pink slips this week, and at the same time, Boeing has raised, I believe, north of somewhere between $10 and $25 billion in capital to reorient the business. And it's, these two things happening simultaneously are just really frustrating. If you're a Boeing employee and you're losing your job because they say they have to cut costs, and then next week they raise a bunch of money to fund the operations. I guess it looks good to Wall Street. But Boeing is really a company that I think is they're drinking some Dr. Zest, if you will. They're on the fentanyl. Boeing is basically taking loans from loan sharks now. That's how bad they are. They're in a ton of debt. Their business units are in chaos. They can't build an airplane. They forgot how to build a fucking airplane. And they're raising all this money and they're putting all this debt into the company that I think is really, you know what, honestly, dude, like if you take a loan from a loan shark or a mobster, that you might get your legs broken if you don't pay him back. I feel like we need to apply that methodology to Fortune 500 CEOs who load their companies with debt. If you're a Fortune 500 CEO and you load your company with $10 billion of debt, and then the company ends up going through a bankruptcy, you should get your legs broken. You should get your kneecaps shattered by the creditors. I'll do it for free. JP Morgan should come into the Boeing offices, and if they can't pay back their debt 5 years from now, they should come in like the fucking Sopranos.
Or they put you in like one of those things where they got your head and your arms through it, like in medieval society. They put you in one of those things on Wall Street. And people can just chuck tomatoes at you.
Throw eggs at you?
Yeah.
Yeah, like a fool's a shame, something like that.
Yeah. What's the actual repercussions of bankruptcy? Is there a measurable, like, does it hurt the banking institutions? Does it eventually come back to the country? Does it fuck with the country's bottom line?
That's a great question, Mitch. I mean, here's the reality. Bankruptcy, when it comes to Fortune 500 companies and the largest institutions, bankruptcy is not real. Bankruptcy is oftentimes, well, there's two types of bankruptcy. You have what's called Chapter 11 and Chapter 7, which those numbers just refer to like the chapters in the whatever
7-Eleven.
Basically, you have Chapter 9 and Chapter 11.
Yeah.
Well, when you put that together, what do you get? Chapter 9/11. And Boeing was responsible for you look at these planes that was used.
Building 7, 9/11,
Building
7, Chapter 11.
You put 7, 9/11 together, what do you get?
Right. But who gets affected by bankruptcy?
So
basically, you're saying nobody?
The poor get fucked.
Really? But how does that actually work?
Here's how it works. Actually, no. The poor. So when a company goes bankrupt, and it because no one even really knows what that is, but bankruptcy itself is when you have a corporate bankruptcy is when you have too much debt, right? So let's say you're Boeing and Boeing. Let's say they raise $25 billion in debt. They receive $25 billion of cash, but they promise, and it's not even one bank. Like in this case, $25 billion. It's a consortium. That's what they call it, which is so arrogant. A consortium of financial institutions.
Conservatory of
It's a group. It's a group. Just call it a group, you fucking assholes. But basically,
or say the number of, that would be more.
5.
That would be better. That would be like, we would have more knowledge.
But they don't want us to have more knowledge, Mitch. So a group of banks got together and they created a debt package. They each, let's say JP Morgan, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, whatever. They each come up with $5 billion and they put it together, and they a consortium of banks loan this money to Boeing, and then Boeing burns it, wastes it, flies their CEOs around corporate jets, kills P. Diddy probably. They waste the money, and then a year later the banks go, hey, we gave you $25 billion last year. According to the agreement, you need to give us an interest payment of $5 billion.
Yeah, no, I get all this.
And so that is what bankruptcy, and this is more for the homeless illiterates that listen to the show that are bankrupt. They're bankrupt and they don't even know it. Do you think me insulting the audience turns them off, or is it fun?
Yeah.
Both. Honestly, I like it. I like insulting the audience. So boom, Boeing, they call the banks and they go, hey, I know we promised to pay you $5 billion today, but we don't have the money. That's when bankruptcy proceedings start.
Yeah.
And so, and so from that point onward, Boeing would actually hire an investment banker called a restructuring investment banker who would come in and on Boeing's behalf, they would negotiate with the banks, which are the creditors. And they'd say, hey, look, we can't pay you the $5 billion right now, but what we're going to do is sell some of the assets that Boeing has so that we can pay you.
Right.
And we'll work out some new terms. And that's called a restructuring. And when that happens, that'll keep the company alive. Chapter 7 is actually a way worse. That's a full actual total bankruptcy.
Yeah.
Where the stock goes to zero. But long story short, the people that get hurt are actually mostly the wealthy. When companies go companies should go bankrupt. Chamath, do you know Chamath Palihapitiya?
No.
He was like one of the guys who's early employees at Facebook. He's now like a venture capitalist. But he went on CNBC and he was saying, let the airlines, during COVID, he was like, let the airlines fail. And I agree with that.
Dude, I gotta piss.
Okay, go for it. Go for it.
But I'm gonna watch this back. If you can just explain for me when I'm watching it, what happened, like how the bankruptcy eventually affects somebody.
Just piss in the bottle would be better.
Dude, I'm sorry.
Okay. No. Dude, I'm joking. But basically with Boeing, once a Chapter 7 happens, the company fully goes bankrupt, and it's pretty much just rich people that get hurt. And what you have right now in the country, though, is you have a world where all these companies get bailed out, which I'm sure you see. All these companies that get, like Spirit Airlines or Delta or Southwest, which is the worst of them all. I mean, just in my opinion, you have these companies, and they get bailed out. They get bailed out by the taxpayer, and they don't even go bankrupt. So what happens is when you have these, and that's why the 2008 financial crisis was so frustrating for the general public, is that you have these companies that should just be allowed to fail and be replaced by better businesses that are healthier. Instead, they're being propped up. And Chamath, if you guys know Chamath, he calls them zombie companies because that's exactly what the fuck they are. They're zombie companies. And it's very upsetting. It's very upsetting that we live in a world where companies are propped up by the taxpayer. And it's literally a form of corporate welfare. it's a form of corporate welfare, because all of these shareholders are and dumbass management teams that should not be managing companies are allowed to continue to get fucking paid. And you know who's paying their fucking salaries? It's us. It's us. No, I'm kidding. But it's the people. And that's really what I think is very reprehensible and sickening about the state of American capitalism. And everything could be solved if we just legalize fentanyl. You know what I mean? Like if we just legalize fentanyl, all this stuff could be solved. But so we'll see. We're going to continue to follow Boeing. Let's go take a look at the questions for this week. I really appreciate you guys. I love it when you ask questions. And we're gonna go through Gary's questions that he asked last week. Gary, I love you, dude. Thank you. You're pretty much the only reason I'm doing the show. It's basically a show for Mr. Gary. So here we go. Number 1. Why are people claiming that the government is feeding the hurricane silver iodide to make it bigger? Gary, that's because the government did do that. So I would check your research. 1A. Did they even know what silver iodide was before Googling it within the past 48 hours? No. No, I don't even know what silver iodide is now, even though you just said it. That is actually a conspiracy theory that I did not hear, Mitch, but that's fucking lit. Like, did I call you Mitch? I meant Gary. Hello. We're on to the questions. Oh, dude. Don't even feel bad. I was just roasting you.
I pooped.
You shit?
Yeah, dude.
That was the fastest shit ever.
Dude, I'm speed shitter. How'd the bankruptcy conversation go?
It went good.
Right.
Basically, every time a company is, instead of going bankrupt, it gets bailed out.
Yeah.
The taxpayer pays for those bailouts.
That's how I figured, but I just wasn't. I know you know your financial shit, so I just like I was under that impression, but it could always be more complicated or something. That could be a misconception.
Yeah, I mean, not every company gets bailed out, but in fact, I think it's mostly really large companies that get bailed out because, here's the fucking sinister shit. Here's the evil shit about it is that, let's say I'm the CEO of Southwest Airlines, and the pandemic happens and I'm fucked, right? Mm-hmm. I'm going to go bankrupt. What these companies did that's so fucking evil. I think it's evil. They only care about the CEO of Southwest Airlines. He only cares about himself. He called up the government and he said, hey, I know that like, this is like capitalism and like, we're supposed to do things on our own. That's what he called Joe Biden, was like, I know it's like, we're supposed to like be competitive and make money and like be smart, but like, the pandemic will be bad. And I want can we have some money, please? Or everyone's going to lose their jobs. They're going to have to.
No more planes. Literally, no more planes.
Or no more planes. Which is a lie. It's like they call the government and they go, hey, if you don't give me $5 billion, I'm going to fire all these employees and it's your fault. And that is so genius and evil of them.
Does it come down? Is it actually more complicated like that? Like, is there some version of Chapter 11 where they leverage some of their assets with the government? Like, is there some sort of like stipulation where they have to eventually make money, or is it literally like that? They just get a flat out loan from the government to keep paying their employees?
Well, in the case of COVID and with the airlines, it was a flat out. It wasn't a loan. It was a grant.
It's flat out grant. Okay.
Flat out. Not even. I mean, a grant is putting it.
Okay, so it's really that stupid.
It's literally
not, okay.
It depends. It depends on the history, on which part of history you're talking about.
Okay.
In 2008, they were bailed out, and the bailouts came. The government, bailout meaning
the banks and so
they took money from they took our tax money. The money that we pay in tax, I don't pay taxes. The money that you pay in taxes, Mitch, was given to the government, and they gave that to J.P. Morgan.
Or they took loans from China and gave it to not directly necessarily. Yeah.
In a lot of cases, directly. Okay. But also with the loan. But
we're talking about literal grants. We're not talking about some version of like leveraging future assets or some version of like a loan. It's just a pretty simple. Here's money, JP Morgan Chase, to keep going.
They cut him a check.
That's pretty insane.
And so
it's a good argument for like universal basic income. Like if you just want to cut a check to JP Morgan Chase to stay alive, why don't you just do that?
What about for actual citizens?
Yeah.
Yeah, literally, bro. But but anyway, so you know, these the Southwest Airlines management team. Hey, a pandemic is bad.
Mm-hmm.
The pandemic was bad. It blindsided a lot of people. But if you are running a business like Southwest Airlines, I would say that a good, well-functioning, healthy business should be able to survive something like a pandemic. And guess what? And that's a little harsh, but guess what? If your business can't survive a pandemic, it doesn't deserve to survive. It deserves to fail. And and that doesn't mean everyone that works at that company dies. They find new jobs or they get severance payouts. Like that is what should have happened. But what instead happened is that you had the government subsidizing these businesses that should have just failed and be reborn in a more efficient way. And so that's the beauty of bankruptcy. It's not a bad thing. What's bad is the opposite, which is what happens is when big companies are about to fail, they go to the government and they go, hey, this is getting bad. But that's kind of common knowledge for my autistic audience.
Yeah, I guess maybe I'm unfortunately less autistic than some of the viewers.
You have a different strain.
Yeah.
You have the musical autism.
Yeah.
Audio engineering autism.
Yeah.
So Gary, let's go to Gary.
What's Gary got for us?
Gary was, and this is from last week, but we're going to cover it. So Gary was asking, why are people claiming that the government is feeding the hurricane silver iodide to make it bigger?
Who's saying that?
That's what I asked. I was like, Gary, people are claiming that because they are doing that. No, I actually hadn't heard that one. Had you heard that one?
I saw on Twitter a little bit of people saying the Jews are making the hurricane. It's Jew weather control.
I know it's
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen I don't know, yeah, like this, I guess there's some conspiracy, the CIA. It's interesting whenever something big happens, like there's always a group of people like it's the Jews who did it. It's the CIA who did it.
It's George Soros.
Yeah. It's Soros funded. The hurricane is Soros funded.
It's the usual suspects.
Yeah,
it's a Soros funded hurricane.
Yeah.
Hurricane Milton.
But that's interesting. Silver. What did he say?
Silver iodide.
Iodide. Can we figure out what the fuck he's talking about? Silver iodide?
Silver iodide hurricane. Honestly, did I say last week that Milton was a stupid name for a hurricane?
I think so.
Okay. Can silver iodide stop a tornado? This is a fucking rabbit hole. This is really cool. Oh, dude, I was doing a comedy show. I forgot what city I was in, but like look, I know this. They're in this city. They actually do cloud seeding. They seed the clouds with certain chemicals.
What?
I swear to God, this is from. Oh, I was in Charlotte. Check this shit out. This is not really about the hurricane.
What did they put in the clouds?
So this is I was in Charlotte, North Carolina. This is an article from 2024. What is cloud seeding and how is it used? According to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, cloud seeding is a type of weather modification that requires a release of chemicals into the atmosphere. Like chemtrails?
Yeah.
By releasing the particles, the goal is to have water condense or freeze on them and become heavy enough to produce rain. So in Charlotte, and again, this is not a podcast that's based on facts,
right.
But this seems kind of legit. This
cloud
is not a blog.
Seeding. Okay.
This is according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration.
So they might do this in some context. You're saying it's not like conspiracy theory.
When people talk about yes. Yeah. But when people talk about chemtrails and George Soros and the Jews flying spy planes up in the sky to control the weather, I think that is fundamentally an understatement of what goes on. No, that's obviously wrong. So anyway, we got to go a little fast here, but okay. So I don't know about the silver iodide, Gary. I want Gary. I'm going to task you to do more research
to
on
make
that
it bigger.
And let us
to
know.
make it bigger, no, I don't think the government would ever want the hurricane to be bigger.
You never let a good crisis go to waste. Honestly,
yeah.
But what? His next question. Why is Mitch feeding the hurricane silver iodide to make it bigger? Why are you doing that, Mitch?
It's because I say never waste a good crisis. if the government's not going to do it and these Jews aren't going to get on it, you leave that to me.
Leave it to the audio engineer.
Yeah.
Has he lost his mind before making it through 10 podcast sessions with Sean? Oh, that's cute.
Have I lost my mind? Almost.
This is the crazy one. 1C. How the fuck do you feed a hurricane? Spoon, bottle, hand fed like a deer in a field? No, it's called a Black Hawk, Gary. I thought you would know about SR7 or the Blackbird. It's called a Blackbird.
It's a 1950s technology. Yeah.
How do you feed a hurricane? That's actually the title of my newest self-help book. How to feed a hurricane. Okay, Gary's second question. Shout out to Mitch for being a good addition to the show and being able to pick up where Josh left off. Being Sean made him disappear. Josh was my last podcast producer.
Yeah.
Oh, Gary likes you.
Thanks, Gary. I like you too, man.
Gary's third question. They are building a new Starbucks in a town nearby, and it is going to be on the main and busiest road that regularly has some form of accidents and bad traffic. How do you think this is going to negatively impact? What is this, civil engineering? This is like a civil engineering prompt.
Sure.
It's like an urban planning class. Did you copy and paste this from an urban planning class, Gary? How much do you think this is going to negatively impact the already poor and abysmal flow of traffic in that area? Will this economically impact that area as well, as more people will be late for work daily? So they basically opened a new Starbucks. Well, Gary, one thing's for sure. There's going to be an uptick in the amount of gay couples walking their dogs. I can say that for sure. Secondly, I mean, that sucks, dude. I used to love a Starbucks. I used to be a Starbucks stan until my girlfriend turned me on to all these like indie shops that have mochas. Overrated?
I think so. I think Starbucks has decent coffee. People like to shit on the popular stuff.
It's true. I still like a lot of people are boycotting Starbucks because of their direct donations to the IDF.
They do. They have direct donations.
They donate basically directly to the IDF.
Well,
but their coffee's good, so I don't know. Number 4, Gary. I'm sorry, Gary. I usually have more time, but I was late. I was late today, and I'm really sorry. I have some personal stuff going on. Number 4. If Boeing continues down the path that it is currently heading, by the end of the year, could we group together and buy enough stock to collectively own and run the company as majority shareholders? Gary, I love you. That's a great question. Honestly, if Boeing gets that cheap, I think we should rally our entire fan base and buy it. Let's buy Boeing.
Why do we want planes, Gary? I don't know why we want planes.
To seed the hurricanes, Mitch.
I guess
it's called cloud seeding, and they do it to make it rain in Charlotte.
So instead of transporting people around, we're gonna control the weather. Instead of much less profitable business model.
You know who the number 1 largest human trafficker is right now? United Airlines.
Really?
They traffic humans all over the world.
All right.
Wow. Let's not end on a pun. All right. If you're still listening, review the show on Spotify, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube, review the show on Apple Podcasts. If you're a fucking loser and you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, you're a psycho. There goes our fan base on Apple Podcasts. And leave a comment on YouTube and say hi. And then join the Facebook group, facebook.com/group/SeanShow. Patreon, all that good shit. Mitch.
Sorry for peeing.
That's okay. Don't worry about it. And that's our show, guys. Have a good day. Bye.